YouTube? Shuki here, and I'm very happy to bring you a review of the Power Rangers Movie Legacy Collection figures. So, quick story behind these. These are street dated at Toys R Us for February 15th, I think 15th, 17th, so about 2 weeks from now is when they're officially supposed to come out. Some Toys R Us's have their case or cases already, and put them out not paying attention. Of course, when you try to buy these, a prompt will come up on the computer, and it's like, don't sell these are street dated. Thankfully, the Toys R Us I went to went ahead and sold me these anyway. They were on the shelf, so they felt obligated to. Your mileage may vary in terms of that. I've been to Toys R Us's where they are very firm on street dates and will not sell you it regardless if it's on the shelf. So, happy hunting and good luck if you do, but I was able to find the entire case still on the shelf at my local Toys R Us. I picked these up right away, and these are very cool. They keep up the great run we've had so far with the Legacy Collection figures, and add them to the really awesome designs of the movie. Plus Alpha, for some reason, they made Alpha instead of like Rita or Goldar or someone, but I think we're going to get more of these later on down the line because they can't not make Legacy Rita. This is how I feel. But anyway, our first wave is of course the 5 Rangers plus Alpha, and each one does make a Megazord. As always with the Legacy Collection, boom, there we go. And this is probably the coolest thing about these figures, and we will look at him at the end of the video. Real quick, of course, these are $19.99 at Toys R Us. Here's a quick look at the packaging. I knocked over Alpha. You know what? Everyone's going to have to go anyway. So here is the box. Just a typical Legacy Collection box. This is Alpha's. Unfortunately, there is not a picture of Alpha here. It is just the Red Ranger again. The other Rangers have their particular Ranger photo here. Build a Megazord right back there. It tells you the pieces that come with the Megazord. The body comes with Alpha, the left arm comes with red, the right arm comes with yellow, the right leg comes with black, and the left leg comes with blue, and of course the wings come with pink, because that makes sense. And there's a lineup of them right down there. Like I said, happy hunting in terms of these. These are Toys R Us exclusive, so you won't find them anywhere else. But anyway, let's get on with the video and start with Red. We'll start with Red, why not? Alright, and here is the Red Ranger. Real quick, here is the Red Ranger action hero that we just took a look at side by side. As you can see, these are about a 6 to 7 inch scale figure as opposed to the normal 5-inch scale figure. Detail-wise, the Legacy Collection actually doesn't have a whole lot extra compared to the action hero, which is kind of nice. The morpher is a little bit more nicely done, and you got a little bit more detail throughout the arm here and the bottom of the legs, but other than that, the action heroes actually do a pretty good job. Of course, the back is a completely different story because backs are never painted on Bandai America normal action hero figures, so that's not nothing new. Articulation wise, you do have some pretty interesting things going on in this figure. There is a lot of ratchet joints, so just like the Ninja Steel action heroes, we now have soft ratchet joints in the shoulders right here. Of course, can still get a full swivel right there. You do have a single joint. No, that's a double joint. That's a double joint at the elbow right there, which is pretty nice. The arms are the typical like SH Figure Art style arms. Or arms? Hands. I'm all over the place in this video. So you get a ton of wrist movement right there. That's kind of creepy. And then you have an ab crunch right there, which is always helpful, plus a waist swivel right there. The legs are where things get a little bit more interesting. You do have it's actually a ball and socket joint right there for the hips, a swivel at the thigh, double joint at the knee. There you go. We can actually it's about as far as it goes. Right there, you do have a ankle tilt right there, and then back to back. Again, on a soft ratchet joint right there. Issue of the figure is the butt. The butt is right there. The big old booty. And it gets in the way. It's basically a butt-like panel, and you can't get the leg to move past there. It's like it's stuck. It won't go past there. So that is definitely a little bit unfortunate. But there is enough movement there to where it probably won't hinder your poses too much, but it still is a bit of a problem. And I'm also not a huge fan of the lack of bicep swivel. I feel at these price point of figures, we should definitely have a bicep swivel. Also, that is an absolute pain as well, which, again, hinders the ability of posing with the power sword. Speaking of the power sword, it doesn't stay in his hand as well as I would have liked. There's multiple different ways they could have done this, but it is what it is, I guess. I don't know. But it's right here. It's here, and it's red and clear and blue and whatever. We'll get rid of that for now. But here we go. There is the articulation on the male figures. We'll go over it quickly on the females when we get to one of them. But very, very nice. You have silver detailing all throughout here. You have the morphing grid, as they're calling it, with the little chest and then going through all the way there to the morpher. Very, very nice. And, of course, you have the spinal design on the back as well. So all those very nice, intricate suit details available in this figure. If you blackwash it, it'll probably stand out even better. I don't know how accurate that would end up being, but it is something to consider. And I don't think I actually touched upon it, but you do have full up and down and side-to-side movement on the helmet. And speaking of, there is Red's helmet design. So pretty cool. And the power sword can, of course, work with any of the Rangers, but it is colored red, so you can't really mix and match too much without looking kind of weird. But if you wanted to get a whole bunch of reds, you could paint the power swords, I guess. But anyway, let's go ahead and check out Trini. There's Trini, and I like this one a lot, actually. I wasn't a huge fan of the Action Hero version of the Yellow Ranger, but the Legacy one works quite a bit more. You got a lot more silver detail running through the figure. Obviously, down here is a little bit weird, and for some reason, her ankles and Pink's ankles aren't ankles? Knee. I meant knee. Aren't painted, unlike the dudes. The dudes have that silver outline on the ankle. The girls don't for some reason. That's a little bit strange, but all the other details are there. I lied. They don't have the blue details right here, but do their actual suits have the blue details? That is the question, because I'm not really sure. But, yeah, that is what it is. Other than that, not too bad. Girls kind of got the shaft a bit. She's also very wibbly-wobbly. And not in the timey-wimey sense, just the wibbly-wobbly sense. It's a pretty loose-jointed figure. Especially in the ab crunch here. She's just very, very loose. Right there. So, yeah, it is what it is. And, of course, you do have the issue that I'm having with the knees. But other than that, and there's not as much paint on the back for the girls either. That is weird. They take less plastic. Why do they have less paint? Thanks, Bandai. Okay, but anyway, not a horrible figure by any stretch of the imagination, but just not quite as solid as the male mold. Here is Billy, and like you might have guessed, the other Rangers don't come with any accessories. They don't come with little hand orbs like the Action Heroes. They don't come with recolored power swords or anything. They just come with themselves, and they, which is definitely a bummer. I mean, even the other Legacy Collection figures have some sort of weapon. But, I don't know. I guess it is what it is. The Megazord Build-A-Filter pieces. I can't talk right now. But there is the Triceratops head. And like I said in the Action Hero video, I love that helmet design for blue. Very, very nice. You can kind of see little horns on there too now that you have a little bit more paint detail, which is always really nice. But like I said, articulation is the same, so nothing too thrilling or new. Kim kind of has the same problems that Trini has in the fact that she doesn't have as much paint details, but as a sculpt, it still is okay. She's a little less wibbly-wobbly. Little less. I say little less, seriously, because she is still very much wibbly-wobbly. But very nice helmet sculpt. Pink is probably my second favorite helmet. Next to Blue's. I just really like Pink's helmet design. They captured a lot of what a pterodactyl / pteranodon is, and I dig that quite a bit. But since I never really went over the articulation for Trini, like I said, it is pretty much all the same points of articulation and the same hindrances. There's really no major differences between the girls and the dudes in terms of articulation, because both have giant little butt flaps that you can't really do anything about. And if this joint was tighter, that's actually a pretty cool jumping pose. But I digress. There is Kim. And finally, here is Zach. The Black Ranger was always my favorite suit for whatever reason. And I think I like the suit a whole lot. I'm not too keen on the helmet. Like I said, with the silver paint here, you can kind of see little mastodon horns going on there. But his helmet just doesn't really reek of mastodon to me. And I think that is probably my biggest problem with him in particular, as well as Trini's, the Yellow Ranger's helmet. But pretty nice figure overall. I feel you lose the silver a little bit against the black because the color shade difference isn't huge compared to something like red and silver. But it's still really nice. It gels very nice together too because the colors are similar. So if you are fond of that, you'll probably like this suit quite a bit. But overall, another great figure. Like I said, the male mold for this is pretty solid. And the surprise of the wave is Alpha. I literally had no idea that Alpha was coming. At least I didn't. But here is the action hero version of Alpha right here. So there's a pretty significant size difference, as there should be, with the difference of size class. Real quick, here is the Red Ranger next to Legacy Alpha. So Alpha comes up to about the shoulders of the Ranger, much like the Action Hero mold does for the Action Hero Rangers. And then here is the 5-inch Alpha compared to the Rangers. Right there, comes up to about the Morpher on those Rangers. So again, once we find out the proper scaling of Alpha in the movie, we should be able to figure out which one is a better suit for a more in-scale display. But you're looking at something along the lines of that. But Legacy Alpha is kind of cool. I like him a lot. I would have much preferred a Rita, but like I said, I feel like we're going to get one in some fashion. But he's not too bad. Unfortunately, he's just not a whole lot different than his 5-inch counterpart. He does have a little bit better articulation because he does have a ball and socket joint up there at the head. So his little saucer face can move all over the place and look around, which is a nice touch since a 5-inch figure can't do that. You also have the normal kind of ball and socket joint for the hands. So you have hands that can rotate and tilt a little bit, which is always beneficial in terms of posing. And then you have a ball and socket down here at the ankles. So you get some tilting action in the foot, which helps balance him out for a little bit more splayed out posing in the legs and stuff. It's not super different than the 5-inch figure, but it's just enough to be helpful. Unfortunately, he only has a single joint in the ankles, knees. Keep doing that in this video. And elbows, and there is no waist swivel or ab crunch on him. So he definitely got the shaft in terms of articulation, but he came with the most interesting, most paint-filled, and most necessary build a Megazord figure part in this wave. So he actually had quite the responsibility, but you can still get some pretty interesting poses going on with this Alpha, and oh, poor guy, he fell over. But I do like him quite a bit, and I'm glad he was made, even if I think the choice is kind of weird. And then finally, if you collect all 6 figures, you get all the pieces to form this guy. And this is really the big seller to me on the Legacy figures. I mean, not only do you get good figures, they kind of fall into question of whether they should actually be $20 a pop or not. But this guy in particular really, really sells it to me because we don't really have any sort of confirmation on a nice, solid, small release of the Megazord. You either have the build one, which evidently is not accurate because this will be the model used on screen, or the interactive one, which is quite big, and I do plan on picking that up sometime in the future for my actual Megazord shelf. But it's nice to have a smaller version of this, and I dig that quite a bit. And to top it off, there's actually quite a few really nice paint detail aspects of this figure, particularly in the body. Like I said, Alpha got the best part. You got all these little vents that are colored blue, a lot of silver detailing throughout the chest here. You have a very nice gradient in the middle of the Megazord figure, as well as on the helmet up here for the morphin grid aspect, as the toys keep putting it. Got these cool little hip thingies from the saber-tooth tiger. You got cannons. You do have knee articulation right there, which is nice. It's nice, solid knee articulation, unlike the other Build-A-Figure pieces that are using the mix and morph joints. This one, it just uses simple ball and socket joints. They're a little bit tighter, especially in the knee just being a swivel. That helps quite a bit. Unfortunately, there is no thigh swivel or bicep swivel or anything like that. So his articulation is a little bit limited because you can't get too spread out on the legs, but with enough finagling, and there's no ankle tilt at all either. So you have to rely on some balancing to get those good poses in, but it's not too bad at all. And the head up here is on a swivel, which I kind of wish it was a ball and socket so it could look up a little bit, but it's not too bad at all. The wings, unfortunately, just plug in. There's no movement on them at all. But like I said, the detail is what really sells me on this Build-A-Figure Megazord. It just looks really nice. I mean, just get a slightly posed, simple kind of thing going on, and it looks absolutely fantastic on a shelf. I got a few questions about scaling with the other Build-A-Figure Megazords. Here is the Power Morphicon Mighty Morphin Black and Gold Megazord right here, but the same mold as the one that will be finished momentarily when Wave 3 comes out. But as you can see, they're roughly the same height, give or take. This one is a lot less blocky, obviously. I feel like it's got a lot easier of a time posing because it doesn't have these wonky knee joints. But overall, it is the same size roughly as the other Build-A-Figure Megazords. But I just really like how this one turned out, and I'm really happy to have a smaller scale version of this Megazord because I love this design to pieces. I think it's great. So overall, I actually like the Legacy Collection figures for the movie quite a bit. Particularly the Build-A-Figure Megazord really does sell me. And while I understand that it's just the construction of that is a lot better than the other Build-A-Figures, and thus the other Rangers didn't really come with any sort of additional accessories, I kind of wish they had a power sword or a little glowy fist thing or something just to give them a little bit extra flair. But if the Rangers don't use any weapons in the movie, then I guess it's kind of a wash. They didn't really need them after all, so it's alright. Alpha was definitely a pleasant surprise. I wasn't expecting to like the figure as much as I did because I already had the 5-inch version of the figure, but I like him a lot. I do hope we get a Rita down the line. I feel like this line is incomplete without her, especially given her powers in the film, but that's neither here nor there. And I do hope we get a Putty or two and Goldar, and there's all sorts of things they could do for a Wave 2 of the movie Legacy Collection figure, so I do hope we see that later on down the line. But overall, here and there, I like these a lot. If you're on the fence between the Legacy and the Action Heroes, do whatever kind of fits in your budget. The Legacy Collection does give you the Build-A-Figure Megazord, which I think is absolutely phenomenal, so I do urge you to check those out if you can afford them. If you can't, the perks of the Legacy Collection figures over the Action Heroes isn't huge enough to justify the double price, so if you're on a budget, I think the Action Heroes are just fine. But at the end of the day, the Legacy Collection figures are absolutely more phenomenal, and I do urge everyone to check them out when they are officially released on the 15th or 17th. And again, if you're hunting for them before that date, happy hunting and good luck to you. But I like them a lot, and I love that Build-A-Figure Megazord. So that about does it for this review. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a cool video like this one. And as always, thanks for watching, take care, and have a great one. Bye.